Hello and welcome to Shows to Astonish. I am your host, the Fat Mantis, and we were reviewing Westworld, Season 3, Episode 8, Crisis Theory. So they didn't turn out to be X-Men. It's alright. You can do it in future seasons if you want. What can be said about this season finale? Well, let me start with what I liked. What I liked was... I like Rachel Evanwood's hair. Oh, actually, no, I liked it better when it was longer, when she was like nice to Loris in the other seasons, so scratched it. What I liked was... Oh, you know what I liked? I liked that conversation between Maeve and Dolores, which was visually a throwback to a lot of the stuff that happened in Season 1 and 2, and they tried to play off of the same lines, and they tried to do it. Unfortunately, it was a little too... It was like too little, too late for the series in order to just interject that. We needed that a couple of episodes ago. And I also liked the scene with Bernard and his wife, or should I say Arnold's wife. And that is also a scene that should have appeared in episode 1 or episode 2 of this season. It should not have been an afterthought, hunting down the wife that he always thought that he believed he had. So I feel like those were failures, but they were good scenes to absolutely see. This finale turned out to be rooted firmly in superhero genre, akin to all the worst parts of CW DC's television lineup. As a matter of fact, if you look at Season 3 and Season 4 finales of Arrow, and you play them back to back to this finale, both visually and many concepts are so similar, they will all blend together and you won't know which one you're watching. That's how CW this ended up being. It ended up having a lot of battle sequences which led to the overthrow of a supervillain and his supercomputer. They didn't touch a lot of new ground, which I think we were all very upset at. Now, one of the major issues that I think a lot of us are having is that this season shows a complete and utter overhaul of the franchise of Westworld. They completely gutted the cast, head to toe, leaving just bare bones cast members. They changed the location of both the time and physical location so that there are no visual cues that date back to the original seasons 1 and 2. Furthermore, they eliminated things such as wonky timeline narratives to make them more streamlined. However, this resulted in a betrayal of the fan base. People who are already fans of such things do not like where this is headed, and it got to the point where people literally created conspiracy theories. An example is the simulation within the simulation, which was not an original thought on my part. Throughout Reddit, throughout YouTube, you see people are literally trying to argue that what we're seeing isn't reality because they simply are disbelief that the show's producers would allow such a change to happen. However, we got no payoff on that. I think we were all just hoping that there would be some twist or conspiracy that ended up making all of this a dream or a fake out or something like that, and it did not pay off. What we are seeing is what it was, a dumbed-down version of the Westworld we all know and love. I believe that HBO wanted to change fan bases. They didn't like the few fans that they had, and they didn't care about alienating them to try to get a new fan. Now, normally HBO is a prestige television, so they want high-end, upper-middle-class to upper-class people. And they thought that creating a prestige science fiction sophisticated, very intelligent show was going to do it. Fortunately, it proved to be too intelligent, so now they want a different type of fan. The type of fan that puts ice in their Chardonnay and reads Dan Brown novels. I mean, reading is smart, but is it always smart? You know what I mean? The finale included a rehash of things such as Maeve and Dolores' samurai fight, which we just saw last episode, as well as a cameo appearance from Lawrence, which seemed to go nowhere, as the season seemed to have a lot of these cameo appearances from characters that ended up not paying off or not having anything to do with the major plot, almost as if it felt like it was a Bryan Singer X-Men film, trying to pack in as many Easter eggs as humanly possible, which was ultimately a fail. Also, the storylines of William, Stubbs, and Bernard, as usual, did not have any payoff. They seemed to go nowhere. The characters, for most of the time, with the exception of the episode where William is in the madhouse, just has them wandering around. This baffles me to no end. My score for the episode is an incomplete. I'm sorry, Jonathan Nolan and Lisa Joy. You guys seem like good kids, but you're going to have to take all 8 scripts, go home, and rework them. Trust me, it's possible to rework them, because me, as a writer, I also have been reworking them, and there are far better things. You could have given me a far better completed project than what you did. Now, I want you to hurry up and get this done, because you're going to lose 5 points off your final grade for every day that it's late. Get to work, and you want to start now because you don't want to end up doing this last minute over your summer break. Let's go over to my predictions board right now. Now, I lost big in this episode. If I was gambling money, I can't believe how bad. I don't think I've ever lost this bad in terms of prediction. But look, they were not the X-Men. Whoa, I failed on that one. They did not go to space. There was no simulation within a simulation, yo. It looks like I did pretty badly on this one. William was my only best bet, and he's my boy, man. I failed you all, so feel free to rub it in the comments. I love it when people rub things in. Love it. So let's talk about these end credit scenes, which are definitely the most enjoyable part of this episode. The first one was William as he goes to the Delos company and confronts a few people. He actually shoots his way into the lab. And finally we get to see old William back at his old tricks. The unstoppable, unkillable killing machine is here to save humanity. However, this is where he is confronted with his host self. And he is subsequently murdered by his host self. Now, I couldn't tell what I was feeling at the scene. On one end, it seems that William's story has come to a shattering end, and he didn't live up to the expectations of being an unkillable killing machine. However, if you're killed by yourself, does that make it all right? Is that really a loss if your evil doppelganger is the thing that kills you? I have to think about this further. However, at least it actually made a statement about William's story and actually furthered the plot along. It actually titillates you for a season 4, which is going to be about 2 years away. I think they have a lot of writing and reworking they need to be doing, so that's probably a good thing. So this will connect to the final scene, end credit scene of season 2, just as this next scene that I'm about to talk about is. And this is a Bernard scene. Bernard didn't do much this season. I'm not even sure what his motivations were at all. I've seen every episode more than once, and I have a little trouble understanding his motivations and where he's been going. But finally, he decides to check in on the Sublime, which he had access to because of the Lawrence cameo. And once he accesses it, like any good drug or living in paradise, he is unable to pull himself out of the virtual reality of it. He is literally in paradise, whatever that is for Bernard. Maybe he's in a lab where he's just 3D printing all sorts of robots, and he gets to interview them while they're naked. That's probably his paradise. But he's in there, and suddenly it cuts to the far future, obviously, where everything is destroyed. There's layers of dust on him, and a bomb blast seems to wake him up. Now, this also connects to the William scene at the final end credit scene of season 2. We've discussed it, that William, having wounds and being all messed up, he comes off a freight elevator and he's back on Westworld in their control center. However, the control center is completely destroyed. It looks like a bomb blast went off, almost as if it's the remnants of a nuclear war. It is then that he goes into Delos' original room, where he's interviewed by his daughter for his fidelity test. So both of these things are connecting. It's showing us that the outlier William does die in end, and they're showing us when he is replaced as a host. But they're also alluding to this future apocalypse world. Now, that's what I think season 4 is headed. I think they're going to have an apocalypse world where the cowboy elements can return. Now, it can be the Wild West in a post-apocalyptic war zone after nuclear bombs have dropped. So we have people who are ranchers and stable hands just trying to survive out there. And there's no civilization to run to or to turn to. And now we can have gunslingers, people in dusters, and all sorts of outlaws having that kind of fun. There could even be back into Native Americans roaming the lands. Maybe they make a resurgence after the white man has been eradicated from the American plains. Who knows? But it seems like they have opened the door to many things. I could write 50 plot lines off of those last 2 end scenes. So tell me, what did you think of the season finale? Am I being a little harsh on it? Did I not get something here? I had no pleasure in giving it an incomplete. I wanted to be thrilled. I wanted to be in awe. I wanted to see my mind get twisted as I totally overlooked something and they outsmart me, but they didn't even bother this time around. So I want you to like, share, and subscribe. Please keep tuning in to Voice of the Fat Mantis. I promise you, I'm not giving up on Westworld. I'm just giving up on this finale. Until next time, ciao for now.